Sean Combs is officially heading to federal prison for only 50 months, a sentence that has left the legal world and the public in a state of absolute shock. If you were following the headlines over the last year, the expectation was a life sentence. We saw the raids, we heard about the thousands of bottles of baby oil, and we watched the federal indictment paint a picture of a criminal enterprise that rivaled the most notorious syndicates in history. But the reality that landed on October 3, 2025 in a Manhattan federal court was a far cry from the end of an era everyone predicted. Today, we are going beyond the surface-level news to look at the secret deals, the tactical PR pivots, and the legal loopholes that allowed one of the most powerful men in music to walk away with a sentence shorter than some people serve for minor offenses. The public narrative has been dominated by a simple belief that the justice system finally caught up to a mogul. However, our deep dive into the 2025 trial transcripts and the newly surfaced filings suggests a much more calculated reality. We're going to answer three massive questions today. First, how did the racketeering and sex trafficking charges, the ones carrying life in prison, simply vanish during the jury deliberations? Second, what exactly was in the private reborn letter Combs sent to the judge that successfully painted him as a changed man? And third, who are the high-profile celebrities whose names remain hidden behind the heavy redactions in the latest civil filings? We have mapped out the timelines and pulled the receipts from the Southern District of New York to show you exactly how the celebrity protection playbook was executed in real time. To understand how we got here, we have to look at the war being fought outside the courtroom. While everyone focused on the criminal trial, a second battle was erupting in the world of streaming. According to a report by The Guardian on December 1, 2025, Combs blasted the new Netflix docuseries executive produced by 50 Cent titled The Reckoning as a shameful hit piece. But the receipt that matters here is the allegation from the Combs legal team that the footage used in that series was actually stolen. They claim that private moments and pre-indictment materials from an unfinished project were obtained unlawfully. This is the PR motive in action. By attacking the documentary, Combs is attempting to discredit the very evidence that the public used to judge him. His team claims he has been amassing footage since he was 19 years old to tell his own story, and they argue that Netflix and CEO Ted Sarandos relied on unauthorized materials. This creates a distraction. If you can't win in the courtroom of law, you destroy the credibility of the courtroom of public opinion. By December 13, 2025, reports surfaced that the Combs family was preparing a $1 billion defamation lawsuit against Netflix. This isn't just about money, it is about controlling the history of what happened before he went away. Now we have to talk about the most shocking reality of this entire case, which took place just as the sentence was being decided. This is the moment where the expectation of a monster met the reality of a strategic redemption arc. On October 2, 2025, just 24 hours before his sentencing, Combs submitted a handwritten letter to Judge Arun Subramanian. According to the official filing, he claimed he had been reborn during his year in detention. He stated that the old version of him died in prison and a new version was born. He wrote that he no longer cared about the money or the fame and that there was nothing more important to him than his family. He even admitted that his downfall was rooted in his own selfishness and the excess of drugs and alcohol. While the public laughed this off as a desperate plea, the payout was massive. Per the sentencing notes from October 3rd, the judge was visibly moved by the defense's argument for mercy. The judge ultimately rejected the prosecution's request for an 11-year sentence, handing down only 50 months instead. When you subtract the time already served since his arrest in late 2024, Combs is looking at a release date as early as May 2028. This reborn strategy essentially cut his potential prison time in half. It turned a federal RICO case into a story of a man who simply lost his way and found God in a jail cell. This leads us to the names that everyone has been whispering about since the raids began. During the trial in May and June of 2025, the jury was provided with a list of over 100 names and places that might be referenced. Per Elle on July 2, 2025, that list included major stars like Usher, Britney Spears, Michael B. Jordan, and even Kanye West. While the prosecution used these names to show the scale of the influence, the defense used them as a shield. By bringing up high-profile associates, they framed the entire lifestyle as standard Hollywood excess rather than a criminal conspiracy. For example, during Cassie Van Dora's testimony on May 15, 2025, she mentioned that Diddy brought Britney Spears to her 21st birthday party. The defense argued that these were simply social gatherings of the elite, not the freak-offs described in the indictment. According to the BBC on March 17, 2025, even civil lawsuits were being amended to include celebrity co-defendants. However, the reality is that many of these names remain protected. The heavy redactions in the latest filings from the Eastern District of California, specifically in the Carroll versus Sean Combs case, show that the court is still shielding the identities of many individuals involved. This suggests that while Diddy is the one behind bars, the industry's bigger secrets are still locked away in confidential folders. But the playbook doesn't stop with the sentence. Just when everyone thought the case was closed, a new legal maneuver emerged. On Christmas Eve, December 24, 2025, lawyers for Sean Combs filed a motion with the Federal Appeals Court in New York. According to the Associated Press, they are now seeking his immediate release. Their argument is that Judge Subramanian acted as a 13th juror. They claim the judge let evidence from the charges he was acquitted of, the sex trafficking and racketeering, unjustly influence the punishment for the lesser charges he was actually convicted of. Per the filing, the defense argues that defendants typically get less than 15 months for the prostitution offenses he was found guilty of. They are calling the 4-year sentence the highest ever imposed for a similar case and are demanding that the conviction be reversed or the sentence lightened even further. This shows that the legal team is playing the long game. They aren't just accepting the 4 years, they are fighting to get him out before the end of 2026. We also have to consider the secondary investigations that are still bubbling under the surface. According to an announcement from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department on November 18, 2025, a fresh investigation has been opened into a sexual battery allegation involving an incident from 2020. This is the re-hook that should keep every associate on high alert. The criminal trial in New York may have focused on specific events, but the discovery process in these new cases is wide open. Per reports from Variety, the legal battles involving other celebrities like Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively have shown that the industry is no longer willing to stay silent about toxic environments. We are seeing a pattern where the unnamed associates in the Diddy case are beginning to pop up in unrelated lawsuits, like the Beast Games filings in California. In those documents, the redactions are used to comply with confidentiality, but the links between the production teams and the bad boy circle are becoming harder to ignore. The financial reality is just as shocking as the legal one. Per the October 3rd sentencing report, Combs was fined $500,000. For a man who was once worth nearly $1 billion, that is essentially a rounding error. While he has lost major partnerships and the bad boy empire is being dismantled, the reality is that his team is already planning a post-prison comeback. By framing his time in New Jersey's federal facility as a spiritual reset and a period of teaching, where he even led a course for other inmates called Free Game with Diddy, they are laying the groundwork for a massive redemption tour. This is the same strategy we have seen with other moguls who use their time away to write memoirs and sell their stories back to the public that once condemned them. They are turning a prison sentence into a brand-building exercise. In summary, the Sean Combs trial of 2025 was a masterclass in celebrity survival. The expectation created by the media was a life sentence for a criminal mastermind. The reality was a jury acquittal on the most serious charges, a strategic letter of remorse that swayed a judge, and a final sentence of just over 4 years. We've seen the reborn claims, the media war against Netflix, and the tactical appeals that are still ongoing today. The insider takeaway is clear. The justice system handles a mogul differently than it handles a regular citizen. By the time Combs is released in 2028, he will likely have a documentary of his own and a book deal waiting for him. The redactions continue to protect the industry's biggest names, ensuring that while one king falls, the kingdom remains intact. This is just one one chapter in a much larger playbook of how the elite manage their downfalls and engineer their returns. To see how other celebrities are using these same tactics to bury their own scandals right now, including the recent fallout between Nicole Kidman and Curb and Earth, or the latest on the Cyrus family drama, you need to check out our Fresh Celebrity Tea playlist. It's the essential next step to understanding the bigger playbook that these stars use to stay on top, even when the world is watching them fall.